Good morning, guys, and welcome to the show, Fernando.
Welcome to the show, guys.
Today we have an unboxing for you. We're going to be unboxing the SPEC power wiring kits. We have the 8 gauge, 4 gauge, and 0 gauge. We're going to show you the differences, show you what's in them, all the fun stuff that you do in unboxing. Let's roll the intro, and I'll see you on the other side. Recently, we had the pleasure of getting some of the new SPEC multi-stranded wire in, and we said, hey, what else do you guys have that we can take a look at? Because, hey, we really like that stuff. And stay to the end because I have one of the coolest pieces that they make I want to share with you guys. But before we do that, we have this, which is their V12 AK8 8-gauge wiring kit. It includes the RCAs. We needed this for a job we're doing, and I needed the RCA, so I had them send me that one. But let's take a look at the box as always and see what is on here that might give us some idea of what we're gonna find inside of it. Moving to the side, amp kit. Still an amp kit. But on the back, we have a ton of information. Looking at the top, amp installation kit, oxygen-free ultra spec copper V12 SPEC amp kit. Check out the full line of SPEC products at www.metraonline. They give you a full list of all the RCAs from 16, 12, 10, 8, and 6. And then over here we have a list of everything that comes in this kit. 17 feet of V12 8 gauge oxygen-free matte red multi-strand power wire. 3 feet of the V12 8 gauge. 17 feet of 18 gauge oxygen-free blue remote turn-on wire. 17 feet V12 noise rejecting dual twisted RCA cable with precision machined ends and split tips. Split tips are important. I'll show you why. 8 gauge ring terminal with a red end, an 8 gauge terminal with a black end, a spade terminal, and then miscellaneous connectors, terminals, and wire ties. Seems like a lot of fun. Let's open up this 8 gauge kit and see what all that means. Now, if you notice here at the top, it has these riveted top, and naturally we always just want to, but if you slide down to the bottom, you'll notice there's just 2 pieces of tape here and a little finger slide up thing. There we go, nice and easy. Ooh, and it comes out as a nice little bundle, so everything is trapped inside of it. The RCAs are here on the top, which are the touchy-feely kind, so that you can see what those are. One of the reasons why I like having this little tray that this comes in is because when I'm working on my bench and I have all this stuff, I can set this somewhere and I don't have to go looking for the parts. So like the little bag is in there. All the pieces stay in one place. I know it's a small thing, but when you do as many of these as we do, that's a big thing. Pulling out the power wire here, the fuse holder is attached. They have this cool braided loom here that has this spiral red inside of it, which is really nice. SPEC shrink wrap going into the fuse holder. The fuse holder itself has this cool rubber grippy thing on it so that it's nice and easy to get off. Rubber, I know, who would have thought. Fuse is mounted here on the top and the wires are mounted in on the side. One of the things about SPEC which I absolutely love is these are not Allen screws, these are Torx. Let's be honest, everybody uses an Allen screw and this is the now. Torx works better. If we cut into the 2 twist ties that they have attached here, that'll fan out and give us our black. Comes with a shrink wrapped end, not one of those like slide over crappy ones. This is shrink wrap, says SPEC on it. Big enough hole for a ground as well as a big enough hole for connecting to the battery. You kind of see here these are little like serrations in the edge in the top of the ring terminals, both power and ground, on front and back, which is nice because that gives it extra grip. As far as wire, like, you know, it's very flexible, feels good. It's not too slick. It has like, it's got a good feel to it. Let's get in here to the end. Take some of this off here. Let's take a closer look. Nice, feels good. Multi-stranded, spreads out real easy. See how good it twists back up after it's spread apart. I know that seems weird, but that's a lot of times what happens. It twists together really nice. No, I like the feel of it. It doesn't feel cheap. Right, moving on to the remote turn on. It's remote turn on. It's not anything special. One thing to note about it, as you can see, if you like wire that bends and stays in place, that's what this is. We'll get to the bag of stuff, but let's take a look at the RCAs first. Ooh. We have a red and black twisted pair. Comes to the rubber nugget here. It says T-SPEC on it, and it goes off to the RCA, which is braided using like the opposite of the power wire, but it's still black and red. So if you're in the whole black and red thing, this is gonna be awesome. As you can see here, this is the loop where they bring it all together. If you've never used any form of flexible wrapping like this, when running through like tight areas, it just like goes through super easy, which is kind of cool. This is thickness wise is about the same thickness as the 8 gauge, just to give you a reference of how much space this is going to take up inside of the car. I mentioned the split tip and why that's important. Trick a friend of mine showed me years ago is when you put this in, sometimes they become loose, and it's understandable. But if you take a razor knife and you go into that split tip with your razor just like this, and you just kind of give it a little wiggle. Not much, just a little wiggle. What that's gonna do is that's gonna spread that tip out, so now when it plugs into the amplifier, it's smashed out to those sides, goes in super, super tight. That's a pro tip right there. Now we have the little bag of parts. It comes with 8 zip ties. These look to be a little bit smaller than 4-inch. 2 fork terminals, if your amplifier has the fork terminal ends, or a snap-in grommet for the firewall, a red butt connector, and a red fork terminal. So this is the basic connection to go to a standard amplifier. So now we've taken a look at this one. I can take all this, put it back onto this tray. See what I mean? This is why the tray is cool. I can just take it all with me, set this on the other table, and let's take a look at the 4-gauge kit. What we have is the V12 AK4, obviously handling more power than the 8-gauge kit. Let's flip it over onto the back. Oxygen-free ultra spec copper. Looking over what's included in the kit, basically it's all the same stuff, just now we're going to a 4-gauge, talks more about the RCAs. Opens up the same way. Same plastic tray, cool. Power wires attached the same way as the 8-gauge. Bigger fuse inside. This one is 150, the 8-gauge was a 60. Same torque screws. Let's pull one of these guys apart. And the reason why is I want to show you this guy right here. This is what I want to show you here. This is one of my favorite parts about the T-SPEC, is this ball head that they have on the end of this. As opposed to just a flat, like it digs it, this ball head, it comes into the wire really nice. Does an excellent job. I really like that. As far as this fuse holder goes, when putting it underneath the hood of a car, it has these cool rubber grommets on the end that put the wire into it and keep water out. This snaps over the top like this. It's not like a sealed waterproof fuse holder, but it's the closest thing you're gonna get to a waterproof style fuse holder without getting one of those giant, things. So very nice there. I'm sure there's like very little moisture gets into this. Very cool. Let me put my screw back in so I don't lose it. Keeping with the theme, the power wire still has that cool braided sleeve on it, and of course a bigger version of that ring terminal with the little notches around the end. For this one, the ground wire is a separate piece. That's located right here. Let's strip a little bit off the end. Ooh, that cut's nice. That was really easy to cut. Feels good. Feels like cloth, feels like a duster, like you could have it and clean some stuff off. Not very sharp. Like you don't have to worry about this, like, ow, Jesus. I don't know if any of you guys have ever had that when you're stripping wire and it like pokes and goes in your finger, and then you gotta sit there for like 10 minutes trying to get it out. Yeah, that's always fun. Silicone shrink wrap on the T-SPEC end here. You can see the silicone coming out of the end here. If this is gonna go someplace weird, you don't have to worry about it getting corroded inside of the copper. Power wire has the same, and then on the end here that goes into the fuse is also silicone filled shrink wrap. Same RCA that we had in the 8-gauge kit, as well as the same remote turn on. And the bag of parts for this one, it's the same pieces, 2 fork terminals, a red butt connector, a red fork terminal for your remote turn on, and 8 zip ties. With that done, let's take a look at the 0 gauge. the heavy zero gauge kit. Oh my gosh, like this is like gold right here. The model number on this is V12-AK1. Definitely more power handling. It's a zero gauge, we know this. Let's flip it over and take a look at the back. The one thing you gotta know when looking at a zero gauge kit is a lot of them are different than the 4 gauge or the 8 gauge kit, just because a lot of times it comes down to expense. Sometimes there'll be different parts in the zero gauge kits, and sometimes they come with extra parts like battery terminals and stuff like that. Don't assume what comes in the 4 or 8 kit is going to come in the zero gauge kit. Always check. 17 feet power wire, 3 feet of ground, 17 feet RCA, 17 feet of remote turn on, fuse holder, zero gauge ring terminal positive, zero gauge ring terminal negative, and spade terminals for zero gauge. Miscellaneous bag of parts. They also have a phone number here on the bottom, which I think the other 2 kits has too, which is really cool. If you're lonely one night, by all means, give them a call. Now with this one, this piece, this is gonna be tough, like to be the cool tray that I like, because it's zero gauge, it's so heavy. But it will stay in this for right now. It's still very nice. RCA is spread out a little bit differently than before. It is the same RCA. All right, let's get these guys out of here. Remote turn on, bag of parts. Since we have it, we'll take a look real quick. We have 2, wow. I haven't seen a lot of these, but 2 zero gauge fork terminals. I don't know if I've ever even seen one of those. A bigger snap-in grommet. The 4 gauge also did come with a grommet. I forgot to mention that. The slide over terminals. It comes with a 6-inch zip tie, 8 of those, and the red butt connector and the red fork terminal for your remote turn on. Very cool. Let's take a look at this. This one has a ton of twist ties on it to keep all of that stuff in place. Let's take a look at this guy here. It has the red and black braided sleeving, shrink wrapped tip that says T-SPEC, zero gauge terminal here, there again with the notches on it, on front and back. Goes into, now we have a full size fuse holder, rubber, just like the other one. Pop that apart. Oh yeah, it's in there good. I like that. The bigger the fuse holder, the harder it should be to get the top off, just because more and more. This one comes with a 300 amp fuse, and it also has the same torque screws that we had on the other 2. This also has rubber grommets in it to keep everything cool. Pop that back on. All right, and like the 8 gauge kit, they did this with the wire, which is nice. There again, all of this wire feels, I know that's weird, but this is what we do all day long, guys. So you got to kind of work with me here when I'm talking about how wire feels. It feels nice, especially zero gauge. Zero gauge sucks to play with because it's so heavy and just, it's very cumbersome. Like as you can see here, this is just effortlessly moving around in my hand like it's a pet or something like that. Let's strip the end just a little bit, see what we got. Cuts super easy. Oh yeah, very nice. The shielding on all of them, I know I haven't talked about it, but it's solid all the way around. Sometimes you get this stuff where you'll see like it's really thin here and fat over there where they just did a crappy job of covering the wire. This has looked the same thickness all the way around the wire, which is nice. Definitely feels the same, has that like paintbrush style quality to it, which is really cool. Oh, look at that, marine compliant. Didn't even see that. Well, all right guys, there you go. There's a look at what comes in your T-SPEC kits. If this is something you're interested in, make sure to head over to metroonline.com and check it out. Also look for the future build video we're gonna do with this stuff in it. Oh, and as I promised, I'm gonna show you one of the coolest things that T-SPEC makes that I absolutely love. Let me show you. This is the VPN B2 MANL compact power and ground distribution block. This will take 1 0 gauge in and 2 4 or 8 gauge out. Just like the power wire, it's riveted here on the top, so you open it from the bottom. I love this thing. We started using them after one of the shows we went to, and Metro was like, here, check these out. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just, oh yeah, this is so cool. There again, work with me guys. I know it's a distribution block, but it's the little things in life that make me happy. On the end here, it has the 2 rubber waterproofing if you need them, but if you don't, you can pull them out. And there's also another rubber. There's actually 2 rubber bushings on this. Inside, there's also the, like, to hold the screw, they put the little piece of clear tubing that you have to pull out before you put the wire in. It's important, make sure you pull it out. Pop the top, it comes off. And what you have here is a power and ground distribution. These are gaps here. What that means is your 0 gauge ground comes in through this hole here in the back, and then your 2 4 gauge or 8 gauge grounds come out of here in the center. You have 2 inputs for for the power. Pick a left, pick a right, doesn't matter, it'll both get to the same place. Fuse goes here across this bridge, and then you have your two outputs on the outside here. Has the rubber grommets on it, you can pull them off if you like, and this will allow you to run a 4 or an 8 gauge as well. This is where the fun part comes in. Just like the single fuse holders, these are on the side here, on both sides, and on the top. And obviously the ones on the top are super easy to get to. You just hit it with your Torx. We'll pull this guy out. And then we have that same balled end. I'm telling you guys, this is the coolest thing ever. There's no sharp corners on it. It's not gonna cut the wire. If you're using a ferrule, it just collapses right in the ferrule. Oh, it's so sweet. One of the setbacks we ran into was I wasn't used to having these on the side. I'd mount it into place and I'd be like, what do I do? Oh crap. We found these guys right here, and this is a miniature Torx. So now when I put my wire in, I have this guy here that just pops into the side just like this, and I can tighten it up simply. Look at that, no space taken up whatsoever. Ooh, I'll have these on DNF Tool Drawer if you're interested in picking up a set. They have a whole set here, so it's pretty cool. You can use them for multiple things, and they got this cool key ring so you don't lose them. If you're doing a 2 amp installation, it's very compact. Here's my iPhone 13 Pro Max, as you can see. Very nice. They also make this in a 4 if you're doing something bigger. We use a ton of these. We do a lot of multi-amp installations. So there you go. There's your bonus piece right there. Hey guys, thank you so much as always for watching this. Fernando, if you please.
On to the next one, guys.
You guys have a great night as always. We'll see you later next time.
Bye.